for Fade outside of the first 4 levels.
Yeah, anytime you get Fade in those first 4, especially the first 2, it makes for quite a different seed. If it's 4, your casts start getting a little limited, but with 4 white mages, you're still going to have a lot of them. But if it's 5 and above, then you get really much more limited resources for this round. Heal 2 available at level 1.
Heal 2 is good. It means that they can have total party healing, which would allow them to take some risks in certain areas. We'll have to see where the rest of the spells shake out. In addition to the 4 runners you see on your screen, we are actually tracking a total of 15 entrants in this race. So we will keep the action right here on the 4, but we will periodically check in on some key racers who are also looking to notch a win here.
So one of the wonderful things about a randomizer is all the choices you get. That is a really quick first encounter, oh, by the way. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you have various options you can check on and off. One of the things that has not been checked is the shop shuffle for weapons, for armor. That makes for guaranteed equipment for the white mages. But it also means it's level 1 guaranteed equipment. So you are not going to hit hard with these white mages.
Step 1, check the magic shop for Fade. If that fails, run and buy some hammers.
So one of the things that does get shuffled is the encounter table, which means it's not random encounters. It is encounters based upon a table. And what we saw from Len was it's only a couple of steps until you get that first encounter. That can be good and that can be bad, and we'll find out which. Silver Bracelet in Matoya's Cave is a good pickup for Split. That's going to be the best early armor they have access to.
Yeah, and one of the things that Len ran into is these are not weak imps. The 2-hit rolled on the imps, and so they're hitting them for more than half a white mage hit point total.
We also have the option, and it is engaged, as you've seen, the early bridge. So they did not yet have to face or beat Garland to be able to progress in the game. However, he is a single target worth a good bit of experience if you're able to beat him.
He also has 3 treasure chests like in Matoya's Cave, and something that they might be looking for early on is some sort of mass spell item, as they will still have to contend with the pirates for their ship. To bash the pirates with a hammer is a long and tedious process.
And sometimes, depending on what the pirates have, not a fun one at all. So, not the treasures you were really looking for. You could have sold the dragon sword for some money, but Len opts out of that.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think anybody's in the position to be able to take the free warp back by killing Garland, so any check of Temple of Fiends is going to involve a walk back.
And the tents are not particularly cheap based on what you have right now at 50 gold. You see Len can only buy 3 of them right now, but you'd much rather get those heals than a few pures. So the run will be on to Provoca, and it looks like Edge and Will are the furthest along towards that right now. If you don't get Fade, the next thing you're hoping for, aside from an AoE cast item, is that you get a harm spell for sale here, which they don't have yet. And there's Harm 2.
Harm 2 is going to open up a peninsula of power grind. For anybody who doesn't know, there is a tip in the northeastern peninsula of Provoca where the encounters are actually the table above them where Lefane is. And what's important for these white mages, it includes a Zombuls and Trolls fight that they can then use and manipulate to gain experience at pretty rapid rates.
So not finding anything but the harms, your first bet is usually going to be try and just hammer the pirates. Although they can't roll an AoE spell because we don't have script shuffle on, they can still hit you pretty hard if they got either high stats, because we are up to 4 times stats, or if they got a nasty effect attached to their attacks, like Death Touch.
Yeah, they could have Death Touch. They could have Stone Touch, which would take out your party members permanently. They have Stun Touch, which could render them useless as well. The Pirates are never just a shoe-in encounter anymore, as Ice Blue knows all too well.
And it looks like Will is doing a lot of precaution before he even goes into the fight. In fact, it looks like he wants to go to that Peninsula of Power before he even starts with the Pirates. So it's Edge Figaro who's going to give us our first look at them.
The only saving grace for our Pirates is that their hit point totals are typically low. I think they start with 6 hit points, so at most they would have rolled 24. It looks like 12 or less is the key figure here.
Yeah, they are one of the 2 lowest vanilla HP monsters in the game, so even if they roll up there on hit points, they don't have a lot.
If I saw that right, it looks like the Zomble encounter might be encounter 1 off the table. I did not see if Will reset his game, but I'm pretty sure he did. And that's actually important because we mentioned back at the beginning of the game that you start with a 1 or 2 step encounter. So
yeah, the faster you get them, the better.
Yep, my apologies. You could actually, reset and force this fight rather fast. So if the trolls appear, you can't do anything about them as they're not undead. But because this is encounter 1, you can reset and recycle that over and over. And it looks like that's what he's doing.
On the other hand, if 4 harm 2s is not enough, then this could be a big time, big black hole to your time, is what I'm trying to say. Because Edge Figaro got past the Pirates, he got level 4, and he's got the ship and likewise split punched.
He did manage to take them out, though. It looks like they have less than or around 200 hit points.
Okay.
His few levels will give him...
first pack of 4, he was unsuccessful and had to reset, so he got it on the second try.
He got it with a 2, so it didn't give him as many levels, but he is going to have more charges of harm 2 now when he goes back and restores his magic points. If I were a bet man, I would say he would probably go and use the inn, get his spell charge back, and actually go back and get a few more levels.
It just feels like a tough call if you don't have houses. If I'm going to do that, I like having a few houses for that.
Well, one of the... it looks like there's a fair bit of money in this seed, so perhaps one of the things that you're thinking of, or what people think of and what goes in their mind is, all right, how much money do I have? Can I make it to Elfland to buy spells, to buy houses, and whatnot? And perhaps that goes into some of the decision-making on whether or not they take the pop grind now or they wait till after Elfland. It's like 3 of our 4 runners on screen are definitely taking this to advantage, though.
Yeah, and Will has gone back to the Pirates, so just the levels he got from there was enough. And there is some security in those extra levels, so the only negative for him is the time he spent walking to there and back.
I think if you take the Pirates first and you get level 4, that's going to give you that extra charge at level 2. It'll allow you to stay out just a little longer, even without a house. The key is
getting 2 of these instead of 1 makes that walk much more valuable.
The key is probably to get to level 8. On the odd chance that Fade happens to be level 4, it will give you 1 charge. So 8 is probably a target level for a lot of these people that are doing the Peninsula of Power grind.
Now we still have another chance for early TNT, which is if it's sitting over with the lazy dwarfs, as we like to affectionately refer to them when the TNT is in the dwarf cave. Now good save strats make a difference, and we just saw that from Edge Figaro. He had saved at the inn in Corneria, went up to Temple of Fiends, found out the treasure was nothing he wanted, he resets and he saves half the walk because he didn't have to walk back.
Yeah, and that's just going to save him a fairly large amount of time.
And looks like the Zombles are not being friendly to Lyn. He... down to just one and done because he ran out of harm 2 charges. That's the downside. They're not
Yeah.
weak to harm, so just old harm 2 may not do enough damage. Cure 4,
and
exit.
yeah.
Oh my, that's too many good spells on one level.
Now, let's all watch. Edge Figaro is taking a little bit of a gamble and buying exit in the first slot. Let us hope the exit boss does not hurt him very much. Otherwise, level 3 is fairly stacked.
Yeah, that's a situation where I'm going to have to pick, if I'm in that situation, pick which 2 are getting fog and then the other 2 aren't. Life 2 at level 4, it's not Fade, but it's not bad.
Hey, you know, we're just a crown away from our situation where we do not have Fade in the first 4 levels.
Which means that regardless of Astos, you're going to have to do the Marsh Cave with no AoE. Unless you find something early. But Fog 2, Heal 3... I suppose with that Heal 3, you could probably get by without Cure 4, but man, I just have a hard time mentally walking away from it.
It's tough. I think it depends on how your party gets damaged, and it requires you to anticipate certain things. Heal 3 is better for a Volcano Dive. That way, because there's a lot of the lava damage and whatnot, you can heal your party much more quickly with Heal 3 in lieu of Cure 4. Ultimately, I would take Heal 3 over if I had to choose, especially considering this is a shorter race and a shorter goal and whatnot. I would rather take the more party heals.
Yeah, I think the way I would have split that difference is take Exit on 2 of them and Fog 2 on the other 2 White Mages, and then take Heal 3 on Cure 4 on all 4. Assuming you have enough money to make that choice, but that's my first instinct.
Well, looks like our groups are making their way over to Marsh Cave. We're going to find out here soon whether or not Marsh Cave holds the key to the canal, or whether it holds the key to a trip to Astos.
And just one of these little subtleties, I really like that Edge Figaro has a house. I wish he had 2 of them. But 1 is definitely better than 0.
Absolutely, because then he could take certain fights, maybe the Bones Crawl fight, or something that he could use his harms on, maybe get a couple of levels and then exit out, use that house, and then make the deeper dive if he needs to.
Yeah, the house will restore magic points just as it does in vanilla, with one difference. It has been fixed in the randomizer so that it will actually save your game after restoring the magic points instead of before. Went too fast for me to see what Edge Figaro got in the first chest, but that also means it couldn't have been an item or it would have stayed up there longer.
Not that I'm ready to call this early. We got a little bit of a route divergence. Split Punch went ahead and went down first.
And it looks like that's the right move because Edge Figaro noped out of the north side. So there was not a treasure up there worth getting out. Could tell from the speed that it wasn't a progression item, but it's still, if something like Zeus Gauntlet had been up there, they absolutely would have kept that. Hey, Scorpions have stun touch, because of course they do.
And there's our
there
GT.
it is, first treasure chest. Now this is a gamble either way. Do you stay and look, or do you run with it? I kind of like looking first, because I know when it's that chest I can get back there.
Well, there are 4 chests, not counting the wizards, that are left down here, and there are still several unknowns to our runners. Edge Figaro hasn't seen the Scorpions yet. He can't necessarily anticipate. I don't think he's seen the Gargoyles yet, and I think this is his first encounter with the Crawls and the Redbone too. So it's a little bit of a gamble for 4 chests. Essentially, you have to skip over the wizard one. Some runners might opt to skip out, as 4 out of however many left looking for the floater is more of a gamble than they're willing to take for the sake of time.
Now that wizard chest could still be required, because having TNT, we are one more item away from go mode. They either must find the ruby or find the floater. There was a light axe down here that Edge Figaro just picked up, and that is a valuable item. You're never going to complain about free casts of Farm 2.
No.
Oh, no charges of exit for Edge Figaro. He's going to have to walk this out. That's the other thing I wasn't too mindful of, is where people's levels are.
Yeah, Edge Figaro did not take a trip over to the Peninsula of Power, I believe, so that definitely renders him a little more down in his levels, because he got exit at 3, so he needs level 5 for that first cast. He must have gotten it while in the Marsh Cave before using the house, or he may not even have it yet, I didn't see.
And that just means that runners like Split Punched, who were able to get one cast of exit, are able to get out of here that much faster. So what we're watching with these featured runners, other than Will Bloodworth, are 3 runners who are still trying to log a win. This is kind of the, if you will, seeking to be most improved club. These are runners who put up a 0 in stage 1, and they're still looking for a 0 in stage 2. So any of them putting up a 0 puts them right up in the lead situation. In fact, we were mentioning before the race started that probably the runner in this race with the most to gain is Lynn the Cat, who put up a 0 in stage 1. Hasn't had the best runs in stage 2.
Yeah, and if he, and there are other runners who have wins in both stages 1 and 2 in this race, and their whole goal for being in here is just to try and deny as many 0s as possible. So Len really has to come up with a very good run here in order to maintain his place in the top of the leaderboards.
Yeah, we have Artea and Minochi from Club 0 trying to keep the membership down.
If I remember right, Quicklet, I think, is also part of the club who has a round 1 victory and not a round 2 victory. I'd have to check the scores on that.
That is correct. The other runners who have a round 1 victory are Edge Figaro, Split Punched, Quicklet, and one of the runners
Ice Blue, I
didn't
believe.
enter this, so it's only the 4 that have a chance to get a 0. Or improve to 0, that is. Fade is level 5.
Fade at level 5 is very interesting because you're going to need level 12 to cast it, but if it requires it's going to require our runners to go out of their way almost to get that level 12, and so we'll find out whether or not Harm 2 is going to be sufficient, or if they're going to feel like it's a necessity to go back and get those levels before they start diving for the floater, or even before they dive the Earth Cave, because Fade is going to be important if you encounter those wizards.
Yeah, if it's just a question of the Vampire and Lich, they are of course both undead, so you'd still feel alright with Harm 2, if not great. But alright. But having to get through the unrunnable wizards, and potentially having to clear out some other encounters that are become required. For example, if an earth blocks the ruby or floater, then Fade's a big deal for those fights.
Definitely. We encountered, actually in, not to be brag, but the game that I won, we encountered a very difficult wizard encounter scheme that it was Fade 5 or 6, and some people got it, and I think Fade was later than that. We didn't have that. It came down to either a good run with the encounter table or having the Thor hammer if you went to another dungeon to get it. There was a lot of frustration and a lot of hair pulling out and keyboard slamming. That was just a fun seed overall.
So early canoe is an option. You don't have to beat the Fiend of Earth in order to get it. Split Punched finds out that the first encounter at Crescent Lake is not the Peds, and now the world is kind of open to you. You have 4 dungeons you can go to. Earth Cave is required. It is the only required dungeon in this seed, other than items forcing a requirement. You can go to the volcano, you can go to Ice Cave, or you can do what Split is probably going to, which is go to Castle Ordeal. The way the meta has kind of worked out is that Ordeal seems to be the favored play.
Ordeals, I think, is a favorite play at this point because not a lot of our racers have levels. That's actually what makes that heal 2 at 1 or heal 3 at 1, whichever it was, more viable. If you had higher levels and more heals, perhaps Volcano might be the best first play, but the lack of levels and the knowledge of what Zombies can do and the fact that they are beatable can lead people to, and often does lead people to Castle Ordeal first. It also includes an incentivized chest, which may or may not contain the floater or any number of decent-ish items. I have my reservations on that. And we are making our first change to our lineup. We are bringing in Quicklit, who did get a round 1 win and is looking for a round 2 win. We are bringing him into the feature circle as well.
And a quick thank you to Edgeworth, who is doing a fabulous job as our restreamer today. Quicklit is making the first Earth Cave play, which makes a ton of sense. Like I said, it's the only required dungeon. So if you can check those first floor chests, I mean, if Ruby is there, that's probably good game.
The one downside to that is a risk that some are willing to take, some are not willing to take, or some may not realize when they're doing it. But the wizards, and if you don't have anything to take care of the wizards down there, it might be an automatic reset depending on what they rolled, how high their hit points are. There's a little bit of a risk. You have exit, so if you go down there and you kill the vampire, you can exit out, you get out freely, no harm, no foul. But if you get that wizard fight, it could make for an interesting time.
So we didn't quite finish up with Ordeal. The other big advantage to coming here, aside from the undead being, the zombies being something you can kill with the Harm 2, is it's actually a much shorter dungeon once you figure out the path. So once you've figured out the navigating of the pillars, it's a much shorter place to be than Ice Cave or Ordeal.
In addition, with encounters like these mummies and wizard mummies, there are definitely ways to gain more experience points down here that would help you prep for things like a volcano dive or otherwise.
Yeah, so it effectively really comes down to those 3 reasons why Ordeal has become such a popular play. The monsters you encounter, the fact there's an incentivized chest, and it is a shorter dungeon. The gargoyles have lightning, by the way.
Split's got his level 12, so that will give him the charge of Fade when he gets done with this dungeon, which will, if the floater's not here, I'd almost expect him to make the Earth Cave dive.
And there's the floater, so this was exactly the right play. Split Punched is going to be well rewarded, so is anybody else who made the decision to go Ice Cave first. He's done without even checking the other chests.
And that's kind of where I feel like the incentivized chests are a little more, I don't want to say fool's gold, but there are going to be items in there that are absolutely useless, like the adamant, or even the slab is absolutely useless. And then you can have some debates left and right on whether mass immune is useful, how exactly useful is the ribbon going to be, what happens if you get crown. A lot of people are shying away from crown because it's just more chests you have to check at sea. And Astos, of course.
So it's a question of how equipped do you feel you must be. Earth Cave is quite a bit more friendly without script shuffle on. We're talking about only being scared of one fight going into it. If script shuffle were on, we could be worried about a whole lot more.
So the next step for Split would be then to go ahead and make his Earth Cave dive and go down and kill the vampire. Oh, I see what he's doing. He is actually taking a stop in the northern hemisphere. In Gaia, he's going to check on the price of gold bracelets and pro rings for a little added protection for his white mages.
Gold bracelets are going to be out of reach for now, asterisks, but a pro ring is not going to hurt. I thought the other thing you might do, already being in the northern hemisphere, would be check the Cardia Islands, but he will opt to not do that.
It's a tough call because about the only thing you're looking for are either more pro rings or a potential ribbon or an opal or gold bracelet, and a lot of the runners feel that's probably too much time for the sake of checking. I think it's 13 chests across 3 islands.
Yeah, there's a lot that can help you, but obviously nothing else required. I mean, the dream would be find a mage staff. I would probably take a mage staff right now over any other piece of equipment.
Well, with Slip Punched having his fades, I think at this point, probably I would opt for more protection, but it really depends on what encounters he's going to come up with and just sort of how hindsight plays a role in that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about not checking the islands is what if there had been a 60,000 gold chest there, so...
We're going to come across a really interesting situation as well. I don't think I've seen a life spell.
They have life too.
Do they? Okay, I missed that.
Level 4, I think it was.
Oh, that is right.
I already cast it once.
I really need to write this down.
So far on Split Punched Walk, we have not seen a wizard encounter. The number of them you face can make all the difference in the world. Because you only have 4 charges of Fade, and you'd like at least one of those left over for the Vampire, and one of those left over by the time you get down to Lich.
Depending on how things roll in your favor, perhaps you could get away with Harm 2 in this case. I know I finished a run where Harm 2 was the best thing I could have, and Harm 2 is sufficient when you get to cast them 4 times.
Yeah, in most cases it will be, but because of the range they face, the hit points can be pretty high. So it's just a security factor if you've got a Fade in the bank. Of course, I'm saying this to the one who actually won one of these stage flags, so
it's a it's a mixed bag because there's just so many different things that could happen that no 2 races are the same. That is what is great about Randomizer.
And Vampire has under 230 hit points. He's down for Split Punched, and Exit quickly takes you back to the airship.
Does he have a house? Because it would be interesting that he did not check the chest behind the Vampire. I know that I lost a race partly because I did not check the chest behind a Vampire, which had a house, which forced me to fly back to Melbourne to use the inn as opposed to using it.
Now Split Punched has the rod, and he will be able to finish off this seed. He does need to restore those magic because you don't want to be without it.
Oh, he has 1 house. There we go.
1 is all he needed. Now, I don't believe he did a reset at all, so he is just taking what comes and seeing what this encounter table looks like. We know that the hard reset was pretty good through the Vampire, so I like this play because then if something goes wrong, you've got that in your back pocket, and this lets you more quickly explore both options if you need to.
Something to that effect was about how I was able to get my victory, is knowing kind of where in the encounter table is there a gap that you can avoid that wizard fight. The question in the unknown is going to be, all right, well, what happens beyond, and when you get into B4, a lot of that's going to be semi-unknown.
So I think this is Earth Cave first for Will, if I'm not mistaken. I don't believe he's gone anywhere else.
Knowing that he looks like he took his pop grind all the way to 12 or 13 based on the hit points of his white mages, so this is probably his first foray into anywhere.
Edge Figaro picked up his floater. Quicklit already has an airship and is taking that airship back to Peninsula Power.
And we're going to find out what is in the incentivized chest, hopefully, when Edge Figaro finishes this fight.
Interesting that he chose to do that versus Split taking the immediate exit after floaters. So if there was any equipment advantage to be had,
he might be looking to grab a level or two from these zombie dragons so that he doesn't have to go back to Peninsula Power. Because that is what a number of our runners are actually doing off stream as well, as they hit up Peninsula Power. And it does look like Edge Figaro is going to go after the zombie dragons a couple of times.
If it can save you on walking, there is certainly a benefit to that, but the downside is the zombie dragons are going to hit hard. So as long as you're prepared to deal with that.
Well, he really, hopefully at most, needs only one at level 12 to cast that fade. Hopefully.
Yeah, meanwhile, I still don't think we've seen a wizard in this Earth Cave. The crown was the other item in the incentive chest, so don't think you'll be using that. No reason to when you already have floater.
No, and I think that pretty well, I mean, you figure if Split Punch didn't need the zombie dragons, he was level 12 before he even got there, so finding that floater there, I mean, there was probably quite literally nothing he could have found that would have helped him directly, short of maybe a gold bracelet since he went to Gaia to check for him, but you're not going to find that.
Alright, so this is Artea in the bottom left now. Didn't get an update on where he is. Is this his second dive or his first?
I believe this is his first.
And he's got wizards. That's the first time we've seen them. His levels are obviously higher based on the hit point total, but I'm not sure what he's up to.
It might be his second dive. Tracker knows a little more than I do.
Okay, so this is a race that's hot between Split Punched and Artea, with Split Punch slightly ahead.
He's got about half a floor, almost a full floor lead. It really depends on what he encounters down here. Run rates and whether he gets wizards. Artea snags some wizards, so that's did set him back just slightly.
So it is possible for multiple people to put up a 0 because it's based on percentage of the winning time, and you can be close enough to the winning time.
So here's some mathematics for you. If you finish around the 30-minute mark, every 18 seconds nets you a 0.01, and so if you get 9 seconds, it'll round up to that 1, and so you really have to finish within 9 seconds to make that 0.00. Obviously, that's for 30 minutes. You can adjust appropriately.
150 damage plus 90 damage plus 300 damage is enough. Split Punched is our winner. SRL time 32 minutes 58 seconds.
And that is his first win under this flag set, technically, and so we'll get him in here. And we'll get him to talk about that.
So that means we're going to have 4 runners in the Club 0, assuming that nobody else is able to finish in time.
Well, I think it's 9 or 10 seconds or so before the roundup occurs, and by this point, we are almost at a full 32:58 was his time, and so. We are getting closer and closer to, I guess I should say farther and farther away from that 0 at this point.
Yeah, Edge Figaro just on the Vampire, he was the one who stood the most to gain. Artea doesn't have anything to gain here. His only benefit would be to put up the winning time.
Oh, I can tell you, Artea is probably not happy that Split Punched has won, as that keeps Split Punched in the Zero Club, which is what Artea is trying to deny people for. Fresh winners are something that the current winners kind of want to keep their club exclusivity. To use a sports reference, it's almost like being the 72 Dolphins.
So Artea is up to Lich. We know the hit points aren't that high, but going with the Harm 2 strats, so a little less damage. Or it could just roll high on the Harm 2. You know, that's an option too. Artea finishes in second with a time of 35 minutes, 3 seconds.
Which is about 2 minutes and 5 seconds later, so we know that there are now not going to be as low a scores as some people had hoped. And we've got Split Punched in the channel now. Split Punch, GG. Glad to see you finally got one.
GG. I think I scared my fiance because I yelled the moment I managed to get done, and Artea hadn't finished in front of her once.
Yeah, you got at least a floor ahead of him, and talk to me a little bit about what you did for encounters, because if I'm not mistaken, your second dive in Earth Cave, you did not do a reset. Am I correct on that?
You were correct, and I was just in retrospect I should have, but I was just like, okay, I need to finish. Artea's gonna done any moment now because that's what he does, because this is round 2.
I actually loved the strategy because I thought, in my mind, that sets you up faster to experiment both ways if you needed to. And lo and behold, I don't know that this was the only difference, but it certainly was a difference. Artea did get a wizard encounter on his way down.
Oh, did he? Because, yeah, I just got every single Spectre, Gast, or Geist, or whichever one it is, encounter. Every single one possible, basically.
We do have
so
our
a few of our runners are choosing to drop out now as they don't have a chance to improve.
The Len forfeiting is very interesting. We did lose him on the mainstream, so I did not get to see what happened to him. But if anyone had a lot of points to make up, it was certainly him. So he must not have felt like he was within a reasonable amount of time to finish, to feel like he could improve his score.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on this scoring system, but I think if he could have finished in the next 10 minutes, he would have at least improved.
Yeah, 10 minutes would have given him, with 10 minutes over, would have given him like a 0.35 or even a 0.38, which is, half as good as the score he has now.
So that may just be a case where, well, frustration can set in sometimes. It's a position we've all been in, and we don't want to finish a seed because it's just gone that badly for us. But for runners who are happy to be out of Stage 2, you've got Stage 3 to look forward to. Split Punched, what are you thinking about that?
It's not Stage 2, so I'm like, I like the idea of Stage 2, but I've had so many races that have been like Artea that I'm glad to be doing something else at this point. I have no idea how it's gonna be really swingy, I think, because you're gonna have some seeds where Opal Bracelet will be in like Temple of Fiends, and somewhere will be like, oh, I'm done in 10 minutes.
Or you're going to have the 3% chance that it is in Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Or like in the C-shaped chest in Sea Shrine or something.
Minochi finishes in 3rd place. He puts up a time of 38 minutes, 31 seconds. Oh, I didn't realize he was on stream, or I wouldn't have spoiled that. Sorry, everybody.
We got Will Bloodworth back on the screen, searching through the volcano. Looks like Volcano was a choice play for him after what he probably came out with nothing in the Earth Cave.
So the good news for Edge Figaro here, as he's about to get onto this Lich fight, is he still has a lot to gain. Even if it's not a 0, it will still be an improvement, which helps get the average score down. Did I about summarize that well enough for you, Edge? GG to you.
All right. in addition to some of the finishers, we have another forfeit. X Ice Blue has forfeited, unfortunately. Felt like he could not get above .07, which is his current score, and he's decided to just set it down and walk away.
Yeah, if you can't improve, you can't improve, and then it's just, do you feel the need to finish this out, or are you ready to just move? So, that's the choice he makes.
I am ready to move on from round 2. I'm happy to put it behind me and never have to race 4 white mages ever again, ever at all, ever.
So, Edge,
you have to race them next week.
No, that's just 3 white mages, and that's going to be awful as well.
So, Edge, let me ask you something. Are you disappointed to have not sealed a deal this round?
I'm more irritated that I had to run these flags so many times looking for a .01 point victory.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the hardest thing for you, because as long as there's a 0.0 club, your 0.01 has essentially eliminated you from it.
Yep, that's okay. As long as other people keep forfeiting these races, I get to devour tasty SRL points and make myself look better than I actually am.
I think that's how I'm making it.
So it looks like one of our runners picked up the ruby instead of floater. I would have to guess that was an ice cave. Or somewhere we just didn't see an earth.
So did you have either of the 2 winners on stream?
Yes, we had split punched on stream.
And
did
Artea.
he pick up level 5? Did they pick up level 5 going in the into the marsh cave?
Yes. I think it was
I didn't have it going into Marsh, but I had it when I was going. By the time I finished Ordeals, I had level 5 because I only had 3 party members.
I think he meant level for your character, not spell level.
Oh,
no,
okay,
level 3 had exit, which the 2 ways that I could place myself as not doing well is if other runners hammered or did something else to knock down the wizards. I got up to level like 11 or 12 or something to get fade charges. But if the wizards were hammerable, that saves a ton of time.
I never got a wizard encounter, actually.
Well, you lucky son of a bitch.
It was a good routing choice that paid off, and we have our 5th place finisher with Quick Lit. SRL time 41 minutes 35 seconds. So again, he doesn't improve to Club 0, but I think he still might benefit from this finishing time in the last race.
Not really. He has a .07 this round as well, so...
okay, never mind. I didn't write his
score.
It's
more
down.
for SRL bragging rights at this point.
Or pride of finishing. You know, either way. So we have Broadster in the Earth Cave. We have Will Bloodworth, who went to the volcano. I don't know what he got out of there.
For anybody doing some just mental napkin math at home, we are pretty close to the .3 area right now in terms of people who turn in a time. That's what their score would be. We do have a couple of runners out in the fringes trying to better their scores. We've got Darkwing Duck in the Earth Cave. And we have Bismarck, who is currently shopping in what appears to be Elfland. Oh no, he's in Crescent Lake.
So Edge, apparently you went into Marsh Cave without the exit spell yet?
Yeah, I was level 4. I walked it out. It was fine.
We didn't see too much nasty. Maybe the scorpion's annoying, but not necessarily nasty. and Brodster has gotten the wizard encounter. So it looks like if you did the reset strats, you were going to get a wizard encounter. Again, biggest difference we saw for Split Punched, he didn't reset when he came back to Earth Cave, and as such, he ended up avoiding them.
Yeah, and it's going to be key because if any of these parties are under level 12, which is certainly feasible, if any of these parties are under level 12, then they really don't have a means of killing the wizards. As we can see, Drumboardist here loading up for a wizard fight here. He's down in Earth B4.
Somebody, by the way, picked up Defense Sword out of Titan's Tunnel, which is not a bad item when you're limited on resources and you can try and tank with First White Mage. But we should see Will make decent time in here, considering the places he went and the leveling he did. He always likes to make sure he has at least one level 5 spell charge.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the volcano dive was just not, it didn't pay off for him, and I think in some regards this can be viewed as sort of a guessing game as to where you think the floater might be, whether it's an incentive or whether it's in a bulk area like volcano. Here it was technically neither, as we found it in one of the smaller percentage checks in a non-incentive ordeals.
Yeah, now what I believe Will did first, and we can confirm this with him later, is he did an Earth Cave dive, so I think he checked either everything or everything but the ones guarded by an Earth. And if that's the case, then that didn't work out for him. Then it makes perfect sense that your second play is go to Volcano if no one's finished yet.
See, the volcano I think wasn't a terrible check, especially for somebody in Will's position with a lot of heals. Heal 2 or heal 3 at level 1. You know, he certainly had the means to make a deep dive plus exit at 3. He had the means to make it all the way down to the bottom and get out safely. So it's not a bad play. It's just unfortunately in this particular case it was the wrong one. I see that actually Will does not have heal at level 1. His level 1 spells were blank. Or did I not read that right? It looked like his level 1 spells were blank.
Might be, I'm not sure. Drumboardist trying to whack these wizards hard enough that they'll finally go down. So the final standings of this round will be posted probably tomorrow morning by Maya. And then we are, what is it now? I think we're down to 30 hours until the kickoff of Stage 3 with another Midnight Madness.
Yes, that is going to be Monday at 12:01 a.m. Eastern, still on Sunday if you are in any time zone west of that, and somewhere in the middle of the night if you're any time zone east of that.
And Will makes quick work of LICH. He had all the fades in the world to do this with, and Brodster on the fight now. Looks like he's trying to do this with harm 2s. So Will was our 6th place finisher. Let me get his time here. 47 minutes 51 seconds. And the Harms will get the job done for Brodster, 7th place at 48 minutes 59 seconds.
This leaves us with 4 runners left. We've got Drumboardist, Darkwing Duck, Ali Gerbrap, and Bismarck. And Bismarck is making his way through the Earth Cave now as well. I will check back with you, or we can get him on the stream to determine whether this is his first or second dive. We're going to be bringing him into the bottom right-hand corner. That is going to be Bismarck.
Right, and Drumboardist now on the LICH fight. Always an adventure to set up restreams on the fly. That's why we appreciate having a good restreamer like Edgeworth do the hard work for us there. All right, Will, so it looks like you did Earth Cave first, is that right?
Yep. Always do.
How far did you go with that dive?
All the way. I killed the vampire. I went there before I went there after I made sure I had at least one fade charge on all 4.
Okay, quickly GG to Drumbordus. He logs our 8th place finish with a time of 50 minutes and 16 seconds. So then from there, I believe you went to Volcano next?
Yep. I figured I was already there with the canoe, because I did make a mistake and go to Ordeals without the canoe, because I'd already seen all the dot duns. I'm like, okay, they're probably in Ordeals, and that was the only thing in my mind. And didn't think. After that, I just got canoe. I'm like, well, I'm already here. There's a chance if people are finishing in 34 minutes that they did a quick dive of the 2nd floor, so I'll do that real quick. And nothing. So I was like, okay, it's Ordeals. I went to Ordeals, got the floater, noped out immediately, and finished out.
So you have done about as many of these races between stage 1 and stage 2 as anyone has. What have your thoughts been about everything as we've gone along here?
As much as I don't like round 1 round 1 flags, I think they were a much better indication of skill and knowledge of the game and an execution than this round was. I think with this round, it's definitely a lot more of a roulette wheel. And with the way that I played, had the floater been in Earth, obviously, like, it would have gone a lot better for me. Having Fade on level 5 is something that I play for. So level 5, level 6 Fade or exit, so that I'm ahead of the game where other people still have to catch up on their levels. But even with that all lined up, you still lose out to people who rush Ordeals and 1 man at 2 man at up to level 12 and make all the right guesses. So I think there's lots of roads you can take in like a round 1 flag set and get to the same destination at the same time, but then it just comes down to execution and making good decisions. This is just guessing.
Our 7th place finisher, Brat, joins us now. GG to you, sir. Tell us a little bit about your run. And Bismarck is our 9th place finisher, 52 minutes, 28 seconds.
Test.
Barely hear you, Brat, but we do hear you.
You hear me now?
That's better.
All right. Yeah, I found the ruby, so I'm not sure where the floater was.
Where was the ruby?
It was deep in Volcano.
Oh.
So when I found it, I was hoping that floater was not anywhere close to where anyone else was going. but yeah, when people started finishing, when they finished, I figured they found floater just based on how much ahead they were with me. Because I checked the top of Earth and then went straight to Volcano after that.
I was second guessing myself a lot. I'm like, do I want to go to Peninsula Power again when I've only got the boat? Do I want to do this? Or I didn't, by the way, didn't even look in Melmond in the spell shop. You all know why that was important, and I skipped it.
I know that all too well.
I was like, oh, you know what? I'll double back and no.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. We've got Darkwing on Lich now.
Nice. Yeah, someone was telling me he took the same strat I did, which was fight those wizards. You punch them right in the face.
Where was the floater?
Darkwing finishes in 10th with 54 minutes, 29 seconds. The floater was in Ordeal. It was not the incentivized chest.
Yeah, it was in that set of 3 when he first turned the corner past the nightmare chest.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, incentivized was the crown. I'm like, don't need this. Let's just exit. I'm not even gonna fight the dragons. Probably should have fought the dragons.
I exited as soon as I got the floater. I didn't even mess around with anything else. It was like, what else do I need at this point?
Well, I didn't have fade, so I'm saying maybe it'll be a massive moon. Maybe no. I had my hopes and dreams.
Hey, there's
Bismarck
nothing wrong.
joins us now. Good game.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Talk us
Feeling
through
any
how
better?
your run went.
I mean, as well as it could have, as crappy as I feel. I wasn't even going to run it, but I figured I really couldn't go into round 3 with a .87 as my high score in this round. So I got a .61.
That is a
6% strats were
25%
best.
improvement.
Whoa, what?
I said 6% strats were better strats than previous ones.
Oh yeah, the whopping .61 makes me feel so good about myself.
Yeah, there's still a long way to go. We don't know what's going to end up happening.
Oh, Artea's going to win. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's been a rough day. I was up all night, both ends, whole 9 yards. My wife wants me to come to bed, so I just wanted to pop in and say hi.
Well, we appreciate it, Bismarck. Good effort, and we're glad you're able to race today. Wish you a
Take
speedy
care.
recovery.
Take care of yourself.
I
bud.
appreciate it, and sorry for the comment spoiler in IRC. I wasn't exactly thinking straight. Tell Ice Blue I apologize sincerely.
I think
Ice
you
Blue, he apologizes.
sincerely.
Thanks, Drum.
The
You're
word was
welcome.
profusely, but yeah.
So we're just waiting on Ali here. Is that what's happening?
Looks like it.
Am I the only one that completed this with Ruby, not Floater?
That I'm aware of.
It looks like Allie is about to do the same.
Oh,
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
Allie just grabbed Ruby. Probably
And I-
thinking, how the hell did everybody finish so fast?
And I think Darkwing might have been similar. I'm not sure.
You finished like 2 minutes ahead of me, and you went that deep into Gurgoo. I'm so mad at those wizards right now.
Wizards were tough again in this one. Well, high evade, anyways.
I mean, I literally just set my vape down on the controller on the A button and walked away for a while because what else can I do? I've already used a couple of Fog 2 charges. They're going to do 2 damage. Bye.
Did you at least have silver hammers instead of iron ones?
Oh no, they were iron.
I
Oh,
had
shit.
silver.
I think I hit one for 13 damage once. It was a proud moment.
That's hype, man. Oh, man.
Right,
There's
GG guys.
GG. There's nothing I'd rather do less than swing an iron hammer at wizards for 5 minutes straight.
All right, so who's in for the Midnight Madness run for the start of Stage 3? You've got about 30 hours to get ready.
I honestly don't even remember what the 3rd stage is. I was just mentioning that to my chat. What is it?
Pretty black belt.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
opal,
the four rings.
opal scavenger hunt. Yes.
Yes, yeah, I was telling them I think that one's next. I don't think I like it, but at least black belt. One of the rare instances of I have a ribbon. I can't throw it on the black belt. Weird.
Well, you won't have to beat Chaos in that round. It is just get the bracelets.
Yeah, you might have to beat LICH 2, because it might be on the carry 2
yeah,
floor.
You could,
Yeah,
in
what
fact,
is it,
have
the
Kraken
Pro
2
Cape?
as true final boss.
Oh yeah, it could be the last chest.
Oh yeah,
Last food chest.
you're right. There is that one. We had a practice race a couple days ago where the opal bracelet was in one of the validation chests after Phantom. That was really fun.
I like how I keep forgetting that there's no step encounters in that room, so I never check the chests. I don't know why. I guess I'm fine right now. What do you mean I had a mass moon and a ribbon? No! I want to go back!
Yeah, the only tile you don't want to step on is the Phantom tile. Everything else is
Oh, I've
safe.
done it.
Yep.
I think that's the other reason I don't do it is the one time I'm like, oh, I accidentally stepped on again. He hit like the white mage, the only one with resurrection for 600 damage. Okay, we're getting out of here.
Yeah, Artea made the point. Yeah, because you get you'll get an inventory item that totally screws up your where your heals are positioned in your
Oh yeah.
inventory.
Hey, look, you got the adamant. Enjoy.
Congrats. Yeah, with your no fighter party that you've got.
See, that's something that surprised me about this seed and what made incentives seemingly more attractive than they should have been is the volume of useless items that come out of the incentive chest. But it seemed like in a great many of these races, everyone dives ordeals, and it somehow comes out to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got to figure a higher percentage of undead things that you could actually kill for levels that you're probably going to need. You might as well go ahead and make that gamble. It's a heck of a lot better than ice. Don't do that.
Yeah, ice is Friends don't let friends dive ice cave in this seed.
But there's so much more undead. No, stop it. No, that is wrong.
Yeah, if you like fighting frost giants and frost wolves with silver hammers for a straight 25 minutes, you'd be my guest.
But I have a mage staff. I don't care.
I have a mage staff. You know what? That actually makes it at least.
I mean, yeah, at that point, that's slightly better for you, but still, no, just no.
I don't see diving ordeals in this because everybody else does. It's exactly that reason. Like, if everybody's going ordeals, then the people who can out execute me are going to. So my best bet is to go where people are less likely to go or are less likely to be prepared to go, and that's always going to be Earth Cave 1 through 3.
See, I was honestly thinking because we're the white mages, because we have early access to exit, because you have to kill the vamp. I was thinking most everybody was going to do Earth, so I went right to Crescent, got the canoe, and was like, do I want to go Peninsula Power? Do I want to do Ordeals? Because I figure those are going to be the lesser choices, and I did Ordeals and was very slow.
Yeah. It's one of those calls you have to make based on what spells you've got and what levels you're at.
I really wonder what difference I would have made in choices had I gotten Fade.
Yeah, probably would have helped you a lot. Ellie's still plugging away here. I
respect that.
Is he taking fights with ghouls and geist to level up a bit, or is he just running into them and not?
He's at like 13. The enemies here are just going to be giving a pittance of experience. I don't think he should.
No, I think he was just not resetting out of fights. That's what happened.
Well, not resetting going into this Earth Cave made quite the difference today, because you could avoid wizards, is what we found out.
I only got in a fight with one. I power cycle, threw away the 2 fights at the beginning of it, and off of that long run, I only got into 1 wizard fight.
Yeah, that's the same one that I think all of us were getting on the 3rd floor, but I ran into a 4-pack and then just reset right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you have to physically attack 4-packs of wizards, you're better off just resetting and re-rolling for 2 or 3, or just trying to run through it off of a non-power cycle.
That'd be the 2 that I got.
I think a lot of people are going to be happy this round is over. And
yeah, that's the general word on the street. I think is this round sucks. I like
hopefully
it.
We have hopefully we have a nice turnout for the Midnight Madness Stage 3. Who's planning to do that?
I might.
I mean, I liked round 2.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. It's something. Like it's a quick race. Even if you rage out like I do, like I did it this time, but even if you do, it's not for a long time. You're not sitting here, 45 minutes later. Oh, okay, I'm finally down to Lich. It's over and done before it begins.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's ideally it's a sub-hour run. It's real quick. Just go.
Right. Whereas with round 3, and this is the gripe you're going to hear with round 3 as we get going, is that, well, I don't know if I'm settling in for a 20-minute race or a 3-hour race, because you really don't. There's no way of knowing.
Yeah, you pays your money and you takes your chances.
That's it. It's gonna be a lot harder to schedule your day around a race with that kind of a time frame.
True.
just one item in the game you need. The
Well,
rest of
you
it-
have to find the other 3, but ideally those are just shops and then affording them.
Yeah, I mean, quote unquote, finding them is rarely ever as hard as just going to a shop and buying it.
True. I mean, statistically, your odds of finding a gold, copper, and silver are just as good as finding the opal in chests.
But we
Yeah,
also
the-
know that you'll probably need floater, you might need crown. There's still a lot out there.
Right.
But it's less about worrying about the bosses. It's just go for chests all day. So it's interesting.
So Pyrolite asked in chat what the round 3 flags are. In round 3, you have a black belt and 3 open party members, and the goal is to get all 4 bracelets: copper, silver, gold, and opal. Opal, the only non-purchasable and unique item in the game, all onto your black belt before you can dot done. The opal bracelet can be literally anywhere. On top of that, it's magic shop shuffle, so you might not see a good AoE spell until Melmond or Crescent Lake.
On Thunder Pirates.
Yeah, you might run into. I think scripts are shuffled, so you might get Thunder Pirates. It's going to be interesting. You really don't have no idea what kind of siege you're getting into until it gets going.
So fundamentally, the league is about presenting various challenges to the runners instead of just, hey, here's various stats and go beat chaos. So
Yeah, I
We've
mean, there's
seen
only
two-
so much you can take of grind up the black belt and go.
Right. And yeah, and even me saying that's my preferred strat. Even that just gets old. So the four white mage challenge is a nice change of pace from the typical go kill chaos with whatever you're best at killing chaos with type of seed. And
I'm curious what we think of 4 black mage an appropriate challenge for them would be, because they have so much destruction. What would it be? Just beat like Tiamat 2? I mean, what?
well, I would say an end boss for something like 4 black mages with the kind of stats you have in this race, where it's I think 300% enemies, would be. I would think it'd be fair to say if you could kill Lich or Carry 2, you're good, because Kraken 2 is just it's a slot machine at 300%.
True. I was going to say, especially if it was black mages. Oh, by the way, Aaliyah's finished. Time of 1:07:10. Congratulations to all of our runners. We have finished this travesty.
Hey, Warmack Hunt doesn't
GG,
really
11
work.
Warmack, yeah, that's a good call. I was also going to say 4 black mages, meaning you can't class break, so that you're limited on your spells. That would
Mhm.
also be interesting. But I mean, by the time you're actually farming, ideally for Warmag, you'd have a good amount of survivability and sustainability for the AoE you've got thrown around everywhere. That would probably be viable. I think we should throw it out there.
It takes
well,
a
remember,
while.
we have to have a tiebreaker, and we don't know what devious tiebreaker Maya has in store. It could be the Warmack hunt.
There's a lot of different things it could be.
That would be entertaining to watch.
It could be the Will Bloodward special, 1 thief and go.
That's it, buddy. And that's a standing challenge to anybody who wants to take me up on it at any time. If you want to race
No.
your 4 thieves against my 1, 500% stats, I am more than happy to take you on.
Yes, until you hit the 4K Kraken.
I've hit a 4K Kraken with a solo thief. Called a defense sword.
All right. I'm not sure if we're going to get Allie, but let's go ahead and get our final thoughts from the runners. Drum, you want to start us off for that?
Nothing major coming out of my mouth outside of I really like the 4 black mage hunting Warmech now. I just like the visuals of it. 4 guys, their hats just kind of bobbing up and down in the middle of the sky castle. Where's that robot? And then he just comes barreling down and he just starts nuking everything in sight. Oh yeah! That one got out of hand. I'm very sorry.
Like ED209 coming out and trying to walk downstairs. Yeah, it'd be a good time for everybody.
Will, any final thoughts for you?
I've said a lot of words today. I think I'm done talking. Sorry.
All right. Split punched. I always try and give the winner the last word. Anything you want to share? Might have gone AFK. All right. Well, I don't think we're going to get Allie at this point, so we'll say thank you to the runners who gave us a tremendous effort today. Thank you to Randomania for hosting us today. To Edgeworth for being our restreamer and doing a great job swapping these runners in and out so that we could give everybody some airtime. Hope you'll spread the love with some follows if you haven't already. And there's a lot of the league ahead. We've only completed stage 2. Midnight Madness is about 30 hours away. If you want to see the first match of stage 3, join the Discord and you can see the whole schedule. Czar telling us in chat there's Z1 Randomizer on deck. I'm assuming he's in a different time zone because otherwise we're an hour late on that. So I'll wrap up and just say, Sforzando, nice to work with you. Appreciate it, everybody who watched, and hope you all have a great day.
Yeah, that time is 8 o'clock, by the way. We're on the West Coast, so that's going to translate to 8 p.m. Eastern.
And we bid this round adieu. Good night, everybody.
Adieu.
Night, y'all.